Amber Hughes thought she was stepping into a world of bright lights and easy money when she accepted an invite from Victor Lane, the city's most powerful man, but by sunrise, only one of them walked out of the hotel alive, and the security cameras revealed a truth Victor's money could no longer bury. Amber Hughes was only 27, living in a cramped apartment with peeling paint, and dreaming of moving somewhere quiet where she could edit photos without sirens outside her window every night. She took photos at parties, weddings, and city events, saving every extra dollar to upgrade her camera lens, hoping to get freelance work for a travel magazine one day. That Friday, she had been working a birthday party when she received a message from a woman she had met weeks earlier, inviting her to a private after-party on the top floor of the Royal Heights Hotel. It was an event for Victor Lane, a wealthy businessman who was known for throwing glamorous parties filled with celebrities and politicians. People whispered about him in the city, calling him generous, powerful, and untouchable, but Amber didn't pay attention to those stories. She needed the extra money, and she was told she could capture exclusive photos for a nightlife magazine. If she attended, Amber changed quickly in her apartment, pulling on a black blouse and her favorite jeans, and packed her camera bag with spare batteries and a memory card. She took a selfie in the mirror before leaving, smiling, with a tired but excited glow in her eyes, and posted it to her Instagram story with a small caption, "City Nights, let's go." She walked to the bus stop, clutching her camera bag close, scrolling through old photos she had taken of sunsets, street vendors, and small moments of city life, reminding herself of why she loved capturing moments even in a city that felt heavy sometimes. When she arrived at the hotel, she felt small in the marble lobby, with its gold elevators and the scent of expensive cologne in the air. She showed her ID to security and received a temporary guest pass that she clipped onto her bag, her reflection on the gold elevator doors looking uncertain as she waited for them to open. As she stepped into the elevator, she adjusted her hair, glancing at the camera in the corner of the ceiling, and pressed the button for the 45th floor. The numbers lit up one by one, and her ears popped slightly as the elevator climbed higher, the soft hum of the machinery blending with the faint music from the lobby below. She could see the city lights through the small window, blinking like stars in the humid summer night. It was just another job, she thought, another party, another set of photos to edit tomorrow, nothing to be afraid of. She checked her camera settings, ensuring her flash was working, and took a test photo of her hand to see if the lighting was correct. When the doors opened, she stepped into a hallway that smelled of roses and expensive perfume, with soft music spilling from the open door at the end. Inside, people were laughing, glasses clinked, and the lights were dim, with floor-to-ceiling windows showing the city stretching into darkness. She saw Victor Lane across the room, standing with a glass in his hand, his smile wide, eyes sharp, surrounded by people who seemed to orbit him. He was the center of the room. Amber raised her camera, taking a few candid shots, capturing the laughter, the lights, and the expensive clothing swirling around her. She thought of how these photos could help her portfolio, how she might finally earn enough to pay off her credit card bills. How maybe this was a step closer to her dreams. As she lowered her camera, she did not notice Victor looking at her, his smile tightening, his gaze following her as she moved through the crowd, capturing moments that would never see the light of day. At 3:17 a.m., Victor Lane exited the Royal Heights Hotel through the side entrance, pulling a dark coat around him. Despite the warm air pressing against the city, his face was calm, but his eyes shifted quickly, checking the empty street before stepping into his waiting black car. Inside the hotel, the party had thinned out, glasses left half-finished on marble counters, and music still pulsing softly in the background, as if the room itself refused to sleep. Amber was nowhere to be seen, and the last time anyone noticed her was around 2:45 a.m. when she was near the balcony, taking photos of the city lights, while others gathered around Victor, laughing and drinking. Her phone lay silent in her small bag, which had been placed under a chair near the window, and seen by the remaining guests, who wandered the suite with sleepy smiles. By sunrise, Amber friends noticed her absence. She was always careful to text when she arrived home after a late shoot, even if it was just a single word to let them know she was safe. Her best friend, Mia, sent several messages that turned from casual to worried, the unread ticks remaining gray on the screen. Calls went straight to voicemail, and her location was last shown at the hotel. As the morning light filled the city, the hotel staff began their rounds, cleaning up the remnants of the party. A maid entered the suite, gathering glasses and wiping down counters, noticing a thin trail of what looked like a dark stain on the bathroom sink and a cracked wine glass on the floor. She cleaned it up without a second thought, as management expected the suite to be ready for a new guest by afternoon. The hotel's security team checked the logs and saw Amber's name signed in, but no record showed her leaving. Cameras showed her entering the elevator at 12:03 a.m. with her camera bag, her reflection clear as she fixed her hair and checked her phone. But after that, the footage had gaps. The hallway camera near the suite had a glitch, flickering black for a few seconds around a.m., and the lobby camera only showed Victor leaving alone, adjusting his cufflinks with deliberate calm before stepping out. Management didn't push further, not wanting to damage the hotel's reputation or upset an important guest like Victor Lane, who frequently held events there and tipped generously. When the police were called later by Amber's family to report her missing, the response was slow, with suggestions that she might have left with someone or decided to leave town on her own, as young people sometimes did after late parties. Victor issued a short statement later that day, expressing concern for Amber and claiming she left the party around 2:30 a.m., saying she had another shoot to attend. He described her as quiet but professional, saying he hopes she was found safe soon. The statement was shared by news outlets covering the case, but the details felt empty, as if rehearsed, and people online began to notice the inconsistencies between Victor's timeline and the hotel logs. Meanwhile, Amber's apartment remained untouched, her rent unpaid, her cat meowing softly behind the door until a neighbor fed it. The life she built, the dreams she fought for, remained frozen, while the city moved on around her absence. Amber had vanished in the middle of the night, her last known steps, documented only by the cold, blinking eyes of hotel cameras that somehow missed the moment when her life ended and a cover-up began. Detectives finally secured a warrant to review the hotel's maintenance camera footage, hoping to find something the main lobby and hallway feeds had missed. On a grainy camera angled toward the emergency stairwell on the 43rd floor, they found a short, low-resolution clip recorded at 4:05 a.m. It showed a figure struggling to carry something large and heavy, wrapped tightly in what appeared to be a white hotel comforter, descending the dimly lit stairwell with slow, deliberate steps. The footage was dark, but there was a glimpse of a hand gripping the stair rail, and investigators later found a single strand of long, blonde hair stuck in the railing near the corner landing. It was a small piece of evidence, but it was enough to confirm Amber had not simply walked out of the hotel on her own, as Victor claimed, Amber family and friends clung to hope, gathering outside the Royal Heights Hotel with candles, photos of her smiling face, and handmade signs reading, "Where is Amber?" They left flowers near the side entrance where Victor's car had been parked, turning the gray sidewalk into a small memorial. Her mother stood silently, clutching Amber's childhood necklace in her fist, her eyes hollow as she stared at the entrance where her daughter was last seen alive. News crews arrived, capturing the grief and frustration of a family begging for answers, while hotel staff quietly tried to clear the walkway, wanting the cameras gone to protect their business image. Online, Amber's disappearance sparked conversations on forums and social media, where true crime followers began dissecting every detail they could find. Screenshots of her last Instagram story circulated, showing the city lights reflected in her tired but hopeful eyes. People combed through the limited information available, piecing together timelines from social media tags, guest stories, and snippets from news updates. Rumors spread quickly, with some claiming Amber was reckless and stayed out too late, subtly shifting blame onto her. Others defended her fiercely, pointing out that she was working, not partying, and that Victor's version of the story did not add up. The police investigation moved slowly, hindered by missing footage, unclear witness statements, and Victor Lane's influence in the city. A hotel maid who had cleaned the suite the next morning mentioned to a coworker that she had seen what looked like blood in the bathroom sink and a broken wine glass on the balcony, but management told her it was just wine, warning her not to speak to reporters if questioned. The suite was thoroughly cleaned before forensics could conduct a detailed investigation, and by the time the police searched it, all that remained was the faint scent of expensive cologne and disinfectant. Despite the obstacles, a detective assigned to Amber case kept pushing quietly, collecting scraps of evidence that others dismissed. The cracked lens from Amber camera was found in a trash bin outside the hotel, and a broken memory card was discovered in the staff laundry chute, but it was damaged and unreadable. The detective noted the damage patterns, suspecting someone had intentionally tried to destroy it. Each small finding became a piece of a growing puzzle, suggesting that Amber's disappearance was not a random act or a case of a young woman leaving the city on a whim, but the deliberate silencing of someone who had seen something she was never meant to capture with her camera that night. Something tied to the darkness behind Victor Lane's carefully crafted public smile. 3 weeks after Amber vanished, a cyclist riding along a wooded road outside the city noticed a partially burned handbag near a cluster of bushes. The bag's edges were blackened and fragile, and inside lay fragments of charred papers, a melted lipstick tube, and the scorched remains of a wallet with Amber's driver's license barely intact. Hidden in the lining was a memory card, its surface darkened and warped by heat, but still holding on to traces of what it had captured that night. Investigators retrieved the card carefully, sending it to digital forensics, where a technician worked tirelessly, recovering fragments of images piece by piece, each corrupted file slowly revealing partial glimpses of that final night. Among the recovered fragments were shots of the party, with people dancing under the dim lights, the reflection of the city skyline in the windows, and champagne glasses raised in laughter. Faces blurred by movement and camera flash flickered on the screen. But in the final image recovered, Victor Lane's face appeared in sharp, accidental focus, turned toward Amber's camera. His expression was different from the charming smiles he wore throughout the night. His eyes looked sharp, cold, and calculating, and the timestamp at the bottom corner showed 2:58 a.m., directly contradicting his claim that Amber had left before 2:30 a.m. The image was quickly shared with the lead detective, who saw in it not only proof of Victor's lie, but also a reason to dig deeper into what truly happened that night. The discovery of the bag and the image triggered a wave of renewed interest online and among local journalists, who began piecing together a timeline of Amber's last hours. Victor Lane, sensing the mounting pressure, held another press conference through his lawyers, maintaining his innocence and claiming that the photo proved nothing except that Amber was present at the party. He insisted that she left willingly and that he was cooperating with the investigation fully, but behind closed doors, Victor's legal team was working to suppress further evidence from reaching the public, pressuring the hotel to maintain silence and offering settlements to anyone willing to step back from the case. While public attention grew, an anonymous tip reached the police, leading them to an abandoned warehouse property registered under a shell company tied to Victor's holdings. Hidden inside, under a dusty tarp, investigators found a black luxury sedan, its interior showing faint but unmistakable traces of blood under UV light. DNA testing confirmed that the blood matched Amber, and inside the trunk, fibers from the same white comforter seen in the stairwell footage were recovered. This connection between Victor, the car, and Amber blood provided the breakthrough detectives needed, creating a clear line between Amber's last known location and the hidden property tied to Victor's network. As investigators built their case, Victor continued his life publicly, attending charity events, appearing in photographs, smiling next to politicians, pretending that nothing had changed. But the evidence was growing, and Amber's family, though shattered, found hope in the knowledge that her case was no longer being quietly pushed aside. The final piece was still missing Amber herself, but with each fragment recovered, it became clear that Victor's carefully controlled image was beginning to crack, revealing the darkness that Amber's camera had captured before her final moments, ensuring that the truth would not stay buried forever. Outside Victor Lane's glass office building, people gathered holding handmade signs with Amber photo, demanding justice and voices that echoed off cold concrete. News vans lined the street, cameras rolling as reporters updated viewers on the case that had gripped the city, transforming Amber's disappearance into a rallying cry against those who believed power could hide the truth. Victor watched from his office window, the protests, a smear of color against the clean lines of his corporate world, as he adjusted his tie and checked his reflection in the glass, trying to maintain the image he had built carefully over years of connections and silent transactions. But the walls were closing in, and even his money could not erase the evidence stacking against him. The leaked footage from the hotel's backup server, showing Victor and one of his security men dragging a rolled carpet into the service elevator, became the final push the police needed to act. Victor was arrested at dawn, taken from his penthouse while he attempted to make calls to those who once promised him protection. His face, usually composed and confident, appeared pale in the early morning light as he was led in handcuffs past waiting cameras, flashes capturing the moment the city saw the powerful man fall. His lawyer argued for his release, claiming the evidence was circumstantial, but the judge denied bail, citing the risk of flight and the seriousness of the charges now facing Victor. The unidentified man in the footage was soon revealed to be Victor's personal bodyguard, a man who had remained invisible at events, blending into the background. Under the weight of potential life imprisonment, he accepted a plea deal, agreeing to testify in exchange for a reduced sentence. In his testimony, he described how Victor had argued with Amber that night, how she had discovered images on her camera that captured more than just the party photos of Victor in a private conversation with individuals tied to illegal dealings and trafficking that Victor had hoped to keep hidden. Amber, not fully understanding what she had stumbled upon, had refused to hand over her camera, insisting she would leave and delete the images later, but Victor could not take the risk. Amber's final moments, as described by the bodyguard, were quiet, with the city lights reflecting in the suite's glass, as Victor ended her life in a calculated decision to protect himself. The camera she had carried, the one she believed would build her career, was smashed, its memory card torn out, before Victor and the bodyguard attempted to dispose of evidence. But Amber had unknowingly backed up the images to a private cloud. Minutes before her phone was destroyed, images that would become the final, undeniable proof tying Victor to a network of crimes far beyond the murder of a young photographer. Though Amber's body was never found, the case against Victor moved forward, built on the fragments of evidence she left behind, her determination to capture truth becoming the reason Victor's empire began to crumble. The trial was public, with people filling the courthouse steps each day, holding Amber's photo as a reminder of who this was truly for. The city, once willing to look away, was now watching closely, ensuring that Amber's voice, silenced that night, was finally heard. Her story, once hidden in the darkness of a powerful man's world, became the light that exposed him, proving that even in a world where power tries to silence the truth, a single night, a single image, and a single, determined young woman could change everything forever.